Aloha, I'm Kalai Miller and welcome to Ocean Paddler. On today's episode, we head up to Jaws on Maui's North Shore to check out what has been the most incredible big wave season ever for stand-up paddling. Fueled by a very strong El Nino, the giant swells lined up back to back, and the best stand-up surfers in the world pushed the sport to new heights in death-defying conditions. But first, we're off to Sydney, Australia, where its harbour and many coves and waterways make it the perfect water world and home to some of the best ocean athletes on the planet. It also makes it the perfect location for the Bridge to Beach race. This is a multidiscipline race with a medium-length course to the varying conditions of the Sydney waterways.
On board today I've got the current world Surfski and Molokai champ, number 2 in the world as well, and a bunch of other top guys. And because of the way Sydney is structured geographically, it's actually easier to paddle to work than it is to drive, because the traffic all gets focused on the bridges and you've got all these massive waterways. It just makes it so much easier, and it's just such unique waterways around Sydney. So we're doing the Bridge to Beach today. It's an 11-kilometre race starts at the Harbour Bridge in Sydney and finishes at Manly Wharf at Manly Beach. We should have about 400 to 500 people in the race today, so ranging from stand-ups, prone paddleboarders, OC1s, OC3s, rowing boats, and then a ton of surf skis. And so the fastest guys will do this in about 40 minutes, and then we'll have people taking 3 hours also.
It's the 14th year that this event has happened, and we have some of the best competitors from around the world. But the great part about this is we also got some beginners, so it's great to attract new people to the sport.
It's pretty much if you're a water person or you want to be involved in any sort of discipline, you can come out here today and paddle at the Bridge to Beach.
You look at it here, it's such a good morning, you know. We're here underneath the Harbour Bridge. There's probably 300 or 400 people here just smiling and just want to get out there and bash themselves for a Sunday morning and then just go and enjoy breakfast, and that's just the start of the day.
We have around 400 plus starters, so we work it in 4 different waves. We start on the western side of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. We go past the Opera House, in towards Taronga Zoo, around Bradley's Head, and then we follow Western Channel all the way down to Middlehead, across to Dobroyd, and then into Manly. It's 11 kilometres.
I think one of the most exciting thing about this race is that you've got beginners that are able to race side by side with some of the best in the world. They don't get that opportunity to do that very often. The harbour's great because it's quite volatile. It lends itself to be able to have great conditions for beginners, but tough conditions and intense conditions for the competitors all round. So it's great that they can all mix together and compete in such an amazing race.
For for us on the skis, we're the fastest. We're probably the F1 of the sort of ocean world, so that makes it a little bit easier on us. But if you're a better SUP paddler paddling around with the ski paddlers or board paddler, you can really find yourself mixing it in with the washers and trying to have a little battle within the race with other disciplines. So it's a really cool race.
This race, you know, has some of the best paddlers in every discipline. So the top surf skis, some of the SUP guys, some of the prone guys. And when I looked through the start list this morning, I was like, wow, you know, that guy's doing it.
And it's a pretty unreal sort of race. You don't get many races where you get to race all disciplines, and it's going to be a pretty hard 11, 12 kilometres out in the water today.
Up next, more action from Sydney Harbour and the Bridge to Beach race.
Hey, give me one next.
The Bridge to Beach race in Sydney is one of the most competitive multidiscipline races in the world. And while the stand-up paddling, OC1, and other paddle sports are gaining in participation, it's still the traditional Surfski division that attracts the most athletes.
The pace was on from the start, and I said to Mitch, just sort of control yourself, because he tends to go out quite fast, quite early. And myself, I got a much slower rate than him, so it would just burn me out. So, you know, we ended up getting to the lead, and a few guys were sitting on us on our side wash for probably about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we eventually pulled away off a little boat wash, and then, you know, we just focused on our stroke and keeping the boat moving fast, and, you know, tried to have a bit of banter back and forth, and really just actually take in the scenery. Like, it's not every day you get to paddle from underneath the harbour bridge to Manly Beach, and, you know, just try and enjoy it. It's a Sunday morning. It's, you know, it's something we did want to win it, but at the end of the day, you've got to try and enjoy it along the way.
From the start, there was a double ski which had Mitchell Trim and Kendrick Louis. They got away about 2 kilometres into the race and just got that little bit further in front, and from there it was 3 of us. So it was myself, Michael Booth and Jeremy Cotter. We had a bit of a battle, everyone sort of moving up on each other, and as it goes, Michael just got away. As soon as that little elastic band snaps, it felt like that was race over.
Basically, Jeremy led a lot of the way. Then I sat there, sort of played it safe, and then just towards the end, off the last point, I sort of went and hoped for the best and grinded myself home to take the win.
It's quite an intense finish, because as they get up on the beach, they've got to get their craft onto the top of the beach. They've then, after their legs are aching, their arms are aching, their whole body's ready to collapse, they've then got to run for the finish line.
You just think all I want to do is finish the race here after the paddle's done, but you've got to get up and run that 300 metres. But it's the same for everyone, and it's really interesting. As you can see, there's a lot of people here really trying to get that 1 or 2 positions in front, and there's people coming through. If there's 400 paddlers, there's people coming through every couple of seconds.
We're a culture that loves fitness, loves getting out there, and with stand-up paddleboard and kayaking, the fastest growing sports here in this country, it's quite amazing to have a race like this, because I think it relates a lot to Hawaiian culture as well. You've got the beaches, you've got the sport, you've got the stand-up paddles, you've got the kayaks, and it's great actually that a lot of people that do compete in Hawaii come over here and bring that race theme and that passion to Australia. And the whole community here is fantastic. Everyone's so friendly. They embrace it. They're cheering on the competitors. They want to be here next year. It's a great race for that.
Yeah, the one thing I do love about Hawaii is you look out over Waikiki or anywhere in Hawaii and you've got people swimming, you've got people in their outriggers, you've got people in their skis. It's surfing, supping, it's amazing. And I feel like the closest thing to that is here in Australia and probably Sydney and the Gold Coast. You rock down the beach here at Manly and there's the same sort of atmosphere. You've got everyone just walking down the streets with their surfboards and everyone's water orientated, so it's really cool over here.
All the Aussies love the ocean, whether you're on a stand-up or an OC1 or a Surfski, surfing. You know, Australia's so big and it's like, I think 80% of the country live within 10 to 15 k's of the ocean. So I think, yeah, the ocean's a big part of our culture and I think it will continue to be forever.
Wow, those Surfskis smoked that course in just 45 minutes. Congratulations go out to. In the open Surfski division, in third place, it was Jeremy Cotter. In second, Corey Hill. And in first place with a time of 45 minutes and 12 seconds, Michael Booth. Congratulations go out to all who participated in this great event. For detailed results, you can check out oceanpaddler.com. Next, incredible big wave stand-up action from Jaws. This winter, El Nino conditions have blessed the North Pacific with one monster swell after another. And the result? Absolutely perfect giant surf in Hawaii. And for the world's best stand-up surfers, a dream come true.
Piahi, better known as Jaws, is located on the north shore of Maui, right in my backyard, and it's quite the spectacle.
You know, after surfing there, I just found out that it's the Mecca, it's the Super Bowl, it's the whatever you want to call it of big wave surfing. It's the proving grounds, really.
For as long as I could remember watching the ocean and watching Jaws, I don't think I've ever seen a winter like this, where we've had such consistent big surf. A typical big wave season, I may surf Jaws 3 times if I'm lucky, but not 18 times, and it's, you know, we just finished January. That's like mind-blowing. This has probably been one of the best El Ninos that I've ever experienced in my life. You know, we've had swells that are so big out at Jaws that it's kind of redefined big wave surfing, because the approach for stand-up paddling and normal traditional paddling surfing, the bar has been risen to a new level. Yeah, the history with Jaws is actually mind-blowing. You know, there's no other big wave break, I think, on the planet that's gone through so many different cycles and phases. You know, the first guys to really ride proper piahi were on windsurfers. And they were catching giant waves. And the windsurfing evolved into tow-in surfing behind a Zodiac, and then grew into behind a jet ski. That was the dominant force out there for a long time. And then a couple guys started dabbling with the kites, and kite surfing kind of came in and out real quick. And then all of a sudden, in 2010, After a massive season out at Jaws of Towing, a few of the guys went out there, and including myself, I was on a stand-up at that time, and we caught some big waves. And that was, I think, the changing of everything. After that point, it's turned into a predominant paddle spot for surfing.
It's just a whole different perspective. You're already up and going, so you can line up, you can see everything. And your paddle's a little bit bigger than your hand, so you can get into the wave a little earlier. And it's such a unique sport, and it's so helpful to have a paddle in large surf.
Next on Ocean Paddler, more incredible big wave surfing action from Jaws. Jaws on Maui's North Shore has become the proving ground for the world's stand-up surfing elite. And there's a fairly small contingent of experienced stand-up surfers who want a piece of this extreme action.
Stand-up paddling out at Pe'ahi is something that a very select few do. Guys like Kai Lenny, of course, Connor Baxter, Cody Kerbox, Keali'i Mamala from Oahu's North Shore, Robbie Nash and Dave Kalama and Laird Hamilton, of course, they've all paddled out there. Those are the guys really holding it down, so it's fun to see those guys come out and stand-up paddle. With stand-up paddling, you kind of avoid that one step, and that's standing up. You get rid of that pop-up step. And so that could allow you to get a few more strokes into the wave. That could allow you to kind of sooner edge down the line and sooner choose your direction that you want to go. So being in that standing position already coming into the wave is an advantage, but it can also be a disadvantage. If it is to the point of being pretty windy out there, your body is surface area that the wind's hitting. So that's the time where I might go stand-up paddle in the morning while it's glassy, and then once the wind picks up a little bit and I start to feel like I'm getting pushed out the back, I'm gonna get rid of the paddle and actually surf that same board, traditional prone style.
The stand-ups I use are, only 70 liters, and like every gun that I've seen is, big board. So I just figured, why not? If I'm able to stand on something smaller than that, why not stand on it? The scene out at Jaws, especially on a stand-up, it's a little different. You're definitely gonna pick the waves you want to go on, and you're gonna go on them because, when you have a paddle, the waves that you do paddle for, you can really get into them.
And if I'm on the wave and I need a little extra power just to move forward, I can do a stroke even. But you know, I don't see any disadvantages. I can paddle in on a thinner board. You know, it's just a different perspective to surf Jaws. I mean, I've gotten some of the best waves I've ever ridden in my life on a stand-up out there.
The future out at Jaws with stand-up paddling, it's definitely gonna grow. I feel like a lot of people are gonna realize that, you know, having a stand-up paddleboard and having a paddle in your hands is, you can get into a bigger wave, and you can get into waves a lot easier and faster than you are in prone. And I feel like that's just the biggest thing is, you guys want to ride a bigger wave, then the stand-up's the way to do it.
What an incredible winter season. These guys absolutely shattered the limits of big wave stand-up surfing. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Kalai Miller, and until next time, hoi pa.